right, ladies and germs, happy Pride Month. We made it. We're here. All kinds of stuff happening. We're talking about leeches tonight. Aunt Sandy had to ask. I knew there'd be questions about that. We just did leeches. It's not like I waited 3 years to get leeches on the show, and there's no way I could do them like 2 in a row, like 2 months in a row. So I think we're done with leeches, the scrotum lizards. So we're not going to do that. So today, my guest came recommended when I asked someone else about leeches. They said, no, you want to talk to Adi. So I hope I'm saying that right. I'm going to get correct. I didn't ask. I was going to ask, and we kind of ran out of time. So, but we're going to talk about leeches. This is the last of my nope critters, as far as I know. I'm not doing an episode on cicadas. They're not like a nope thing. They don't creep me out. I just hate them. So, yeah, we all know cicadas are awful. So I hate a cicada. That would be a good t-shirt. But yeah, happy Pride Month. We made it. It's also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which I just got pointed out to me. So we all know that's my pride and joy. Like, I love mental health stuff. So gay dudes get 2 monthly things here. This is great. 2 celebratory things for them. So for that community, that specific community, you double down on celebrations this month. Appreciation. But yeah, let's bring Adi on. I hope it's Adi. I hope it's not something totally different and I just messed it up. So he's laughing. So let's bring him in. There he is.
Hello. It is pronounced Adi.
Adi.
See? Yep. There you go.
There could have been 17 ways to pronounce that, and I just went with the easiest one, I think.
I think the funniest mispronunciation I've gotten was I was like Wendy's, and somebody called my name and he said Adi, and I'm like, Adi. Well, I think you're looking for me. That's not how it's
close.
pronounced. But
it was close.
Yeah.
So, I have this new habit on the show now. I feed my fish from here. So There we go. All right, they just got 2 Tube Effects cakes. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a massive aquarium here. Bingo's out today. I don't know if you guys can see her. Oh no, she left. I don't know where she went. She burrowed again. Oh, no, she's right here. All right. I don't think you can see her. I have a blue-tongued skink that I'm very proud of. She's very camouflage. Yeah, you're not going to see her. Maybe I'll grab her later. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So now going with our current theme or our running theme here. So there are 2 places apparently that you'll find when you search for where to buy leeches. And we're going to find out.
There are 2. So there are a bunch of places that will come up. There are 2 reputable ones. Can you still hear me?
Let's talk about those first. Who's the reputable ones?
Okay. So the big reputable company in the U.S. for leeches is North America Biopharma. They have like medical-grade leeches. That's where the hospitals buy them.
Hold on, you're breaking up.
Are you freezing? Or okay?
One of us is. So I'm sorry. You said what was the company again? It broke up pretty bad.
North America Biopharma.
Okay, North America Biopharma. So they're probably like medicinal style or laboratory grown. They
actually supply hospitals. So they're the biggest reputable leech company in the U.S. The other one that is reputable is Halal Leeches. I don't know a whole lot about that company. Yeah, Halal Leeches. Yep.
Like you have a special diet.
The blood that they are fed is from cattle slaughtered in the halal way or whatever. I don't know. Their leeches are halal somehow.
We're learning about that tonight
But interestingly, they are the one other reputable company. I don't know a whole lot about them other than that people buy leeches from them and they show up healthy. So.
We have a halal grocery store literally like walking distance from me, and I want to go in and ask them for leeches and see what happens. Like, I want to see the look on the guy's face, like, why are you checking with me right now? So, all right, so there's the 2. So you're not reputable? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not like a big website. There are lots of small breeders that are reputable, but if you Google leeches, and to buy them.
Yeah, these are
The two
other main ones.
reputable ones that come up are North America Biopharma and Whole Lot Leeches.
Okay.
And basically anything else, leeches.com, leech.com, all that, there are like a whole bunch of different websites that are actually the same company. And
okay.
they are,
that's a bad sign.
Yes. Yeah. All owned by the same woman. And I will get into my beef with her later, but she's bad news. And and the species that I have right now,
yeah,
they are on her website. You cannot get them from her website. They're there. You can pay for them. They will not arrive.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
I will get into why I know that later.
Okay. Or I'm going to guess you may have been a customer or an attempted customer.
It's actually more interesting than that.
Well, let's just do it. Let's just get it out of the way.
Do that
all
now?
right, let's get the interesting story out of the way.
All right. Okay. So
we're getting this out of the way now. So if you just tuned in, you get to hear who's bad to buy from right away.
Okay.
So we know that's why we're doing this right now.
Mm-hmm. So this is also a precautionary tale of make sure to put your business card in the package when you send something to anybody, like
sure,
a purchase of any sort. Like, so okay, so I had a batch of baby leeches hatch, and I figured that I was never going to have a run-in with this person because I was never going to order from that website. Like, that would be the logical thing. But so I posted about them in a Facebook group, and some guy contacted me to buy a couple of leeches, and it was like, all right, I've done this before. He paid for a couple of leeches. The name on the address that he gave me was different from the name on his Facebook account, but people have different names for different reasons, and like
I do.
Yeah.
I'm not Johannes. I'm Josh Winterfeld. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I didn't think much of it. And the only thing that seemed like it might be off is like maybe he was going to have them shipped to him and then ship them out of the country or something. But so what actually happened? So I send out my batches of leeches. I think one or two other people received leeches that week. So I get confirmation that the orders have been delivered. And then I get a phone call from somebody I don't know, asking if I'm leeches.com.
Phone call.
Yes. They found my business card in the package because, it was a package sent directly from me. Leeches.com drop shipped my leeches. They gave me the name and address of the real customer, and the customer didn't even get their entire order. Like,
they're like a brown box. They get stuff and sell it out. They don't even deal with it. They're like a middleman or something. So whatever you charge them, they probably charge.
Apparently, that's what they're doing. That's
gross.
This is new for them. It's new that they have been caught doing this. Okay. And that customer got the best packaging leeches.com never sent. So, but yeah, I pack my leeches like I'm sending them into space. So they arrived safe and sound. They arrived healthy, but the customer was confused because it wasn't their entire order. And leeches.com doesn't answer their emails. I don't know if they even have a phone number to call, but they found my card that said Fuzzy Bumpers Nano Critters on it, and they're like,
they don't have a phone number.
That isn't leeches.com. What's going on here? Like, where are my other leeches? So buffalo leeches are. I'll get into what the actual going price is usually later, but they are not as much as leeches.com is asking for them, which is $200 something ridiculous like that.
For how many?
For one.
$200 for a leech?
for a leech, for a baby leech. Yep.
Dude, I'll listen for $200. I'll read you scary bedtime stories for a week straight, and you get over your leech thing. Like it'll be great. It'll be great. You could just buy hot dogs.
They don't cost that much. With the number that with the number of leeches the person bought, and versus what the middleman paid me, Leeches.com walked away with about $270 without touching a single leech.
So they just had you ship them to this person.
Yeah, and the middleman actually told me he had no idea this much money was involved. He didn't know that she was a scam artist and that there was like a whole thing with her. So he was really he was not happy about it. None of us were happy about it. And she told him to block me, and he did not, which is, that's good. But I think she blocked him, and it's just this whole thing. And I think that's a pretty shoddy business practices right there.
It's weird when a small business gets caught in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
That makes it worse to me.
Yes.
Like it's not just
this person ordered directly from the website. They showed me the screenshot of the order confirmation, including the exorbitant amount of money they paid for shipping. And it was just it was wild. Like it's I wonder if the middleman must have thought at some point, like, maybe it's weird to contact some guy on Facebook to fill an order for a website.
Yeah, I mean
I had no idea. I had no idea I'd end up getting involved with her in any way, but because I was like, I'm not going to buy from her. It's not going to happen. But she bought from me, and
so she's already got a bad reputation.
But I've kept in contact with the real customer, and I've been giving them care advice and such, and
good.
Sent them a better care sheet because the one on the website is just bizarre. The description is just like, they're like, it will spontaneously combust if you handle it when you feed it, and it's like, I'm like, what is she smoking? Like,
spontaneously combust.
Yeah, and then she talked about having to keep it in the dark all of the time, and I have a light on one of my buffalo leech tanks because there are plants in there, and leeches don't mind it.
I mean, I can't imagine they're very visual creatures.
They do have eyes.
Sight. I'm sure, but I'm guessing that's not their main deal. Are they just simple eyes, or are they legit?
I don't remember if they're simple eyes or if they're something a little more than that. But I think they have something I know some leeches have 10 eyes. They might have 10 or 8 or 6 or something like that. But
so gross.
They have eyes. They are very small eyes.
It's way too many eyes for what they are. I have some nicknames for them later. We'll get into it when we get back to the spicy talk. So, all right, let's be done with that lady. Let's do some positive things. Okay, so guys, no leech.com, leeches.com, anything like that garbage. So you want halal leeches that are raised halal or whatever that is. You can Google it later. Somebody can Google that and let us know.
Or North American Biopharma.
North American Biopharma. There we go. That one sounds like real laboratory.
Yeah.
Prices on the site are insane. I just saw 2,000, but I don't know what kind of leech they're talking about. Never knew they were that much. I need to get into breeding leeches. Shit, holy, I'm in the wrong business.
They're a lot less expensive than that. I
imagine the market's probably pretty slim too. So, you're not selling $2,000 leeches ever.
I have been selling out every clutch since I started shipping them.
But you're not shipping $2,000.
Huh?
You're not shipping $2,000.
Not $1,000 leech, no. But there's enough demand for the species that I have that I am not having trouble finding homes for them.
That was an issue when we scheduled this. I remember you were hoping you had babies left, so You guys are gonna get to see little baby leeches. Little babies.
Yes.
They're actually way bigger than I assumed they would be. These are the ones that hatched like last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Yeah, like a few days ago or so.
Yeah, like I don't even think it was a week. We were talking about it like
I think
Friday.
it was on the I think they hatched on the 31st.
Okay. Yeah, so like Friday. Okay. Wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're already I thought they would be like eeny weeny, like you barely
And
see
that's
them.
that's how big they were when they came out of the cocoon. They haven't fed yet.
All right, so let's get right into cocoons because you just said the magic word. So guys, they come out of cocoons. They don't look like a butterfly, so they don't metamorphose, right? They just come out leeches. There's no like
That's right. Yes. So
middle
the
ground.
cocoon is actually what we call the egg case.
Okay. Oh,
My-
that's a dry one. Okay.
So this
So
one
are
this is
they?
the this is an empty one that
It looks like a
the babies
sponge.
have all
That's
come out of.
hilarious.
Huh?
It looks like a little makeup sponge. That's funny.
Yeah, a
Or
little bit.
it actually looks like a mantis uthica, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
From here, like through that camera, it looks like kind of like a see-through mantis uthica. So
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
they're pretty neat. So they
That's great.
yeah, it's this weird little frothy cocoon thing. So they when they go to lay their eggs, what they do is they actually come up on land.
Okay.
And in captivity, you usually provide them with a little mossy land area for them to lay their cocoons in, or you
Okay.
can actually with the buffalo leeches, you can pick them up out of the enclosure and put them in a box of moss and let them sort themselves out and lay their cocoons. But at any rate, they come up onto land and then they I guess build the cocoon. So actually, okay, the life cycle of the leech is really fascinating.
I'm, I'm
So
hoping.
I don't know if this is for every species of leech in the hobby, but I know for Haruto verbana, which is a species I don't have,
Okay.
they actually don't lay eggs. What they do is they deposit. So they build their cocoon, and then they deposit yolk and something called cryptolarvae into the cocoon, directly into the cocoon, and the cryptolarvae eat the yolk, and for a while they're these like weird little blobby things. And then the actual embryo of the leech grows on the back of the crypto larva, and it eventually like slims down, engulfs the crypto larva, and then they're just little baby leeches.
This is like
And
some shit
yeah,
out of
like
Aliens. Like this
yeah,
is a movie. This
and
is a horrifying movie.
a neat thing about that is you can actually you can candle a leech cocoon like you would like a chicken egg.
I think I would scream if you held it up and like 13
Yeah,
little
and
leech embryos
and
and started squirming around.
it's
Uh,
the best way to check to see if there are any in there. Like, um, you just hold it up to a light source and then see if you see anything moving in there,
so
and you can also check on the progression of their development that way, as you
that is
would
so
candling a
wild.
chicken egg.
Okay, so you can see how long does it take? But okay, so this I want to talk only about this crazy species with a crypto larva. Like that's insane. I'm gonna be doing so much googling after this. Um,
I'll send you a link to the website that has all the information on that.
yeah, and if you have it on you, you can put it in the comment. Can you see the comments? You're on your phone.
Let's see.
Probably not. This is gonna be tough to do if you're doing it.
Oh, here we go. Now I can okay, I can see the comments, but I can't see the comments as well as the stream is at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to see me because I just sit here with this plant and this crazy light. I'm still working on lighting here. But wait, what is this guy, Bob? I just keep thinking of the movie Cocoon crossing over with aliens now. Yeah, kinda. I'm seeing. Did you guys see that movie? Or the show? What is it? The Strain with the alien with the vampires. Is that the one I'm thinking of? The Strain where they had like the tentacle mouth and they had worms in them. That the worms got in you and turned you into a vampire. That's what I'm seeing. They were like, that's what I'm seeing in my head. These things going after yolks and then turning into little embryonic vampires.
it's really fascinating what they do in there. It's and the if I go back a little bit, the making of so the leeches, at least the species that I have and the species that I read about the reproductive process for, they are hermaphroditic.
Those are hermaphroditic.
So
So one of them
so you don't
produces
have
yolk, the
so
other one.
if you have two adult leeches, they can make more leeches. You don't have to worry about getting a male and a female, but it also means that if you have two leeches, they will probably produce cocoons. But if you don't want cocoons, you can since they lay them on land, it's easy to
Yeah.
find them, and you can
Okay.
just pick them out of there, cut them in half, freeze them, whatever you want to do, and then
Or
you
you
won't
could just
have
like not give them
baby
land,
leeches.
right? Or is that bad?
It's like recommended to give them land anyway, but
Okay. Okay. That sounds kind of
uh,
mean. Just leave them like, no, leave those babies in you. Just bloat and spontaneously combust underwater. I want to write this lady all kinds of
it's
weird emails. I want to write
I've
this
heard
lady weird.
that it's like better for them to let them lay the cocoons, but I don't know if we actually know that, or if somebody just is basing it on vibes.
I'm just basing
There's
it
a
on
lot we
vibes.
there's
Yeah.
a lot we don't know about there's a lot we don't know about leeches.
It seems like common sense. Like they'd have to find somewhere to get rid of that stuff.
I mean,
Like
they like reabsorb it, I guess, if they
yeah, I guess
don't
they
lay
could
the
do that.
cocoons.
If
Yeah.
rabbits can do it. That's wild. So all leeches are hermaphroditic.
I think there are some species that do have separate males and females.
Okay.
But to the best of my knowledge, all of the ones in the hobby are hermaphroditic.
Okay.
At
In the
least
hobby.
the blood feeding species.
What kind of weird
Oh
ass
yeah, and
people are we?
there are leeches that drink blood and leeches that don't. There are predatory leeches as well.
I have a
Um,
card here with a picture of one eating a salamander or a newt. It's like
oh wow,
choking it out like a tiny boa constrictor.
oh
Let me see if I
nice.
can find that while we're here. We looked at it a couple weeks ago with Russ. Um, I just like, what kind of weird people are we that we have like, there's a hobby for leech keepers? Like, that's insane to me. Here you go. Here you go. All right. We got it.
Oh, that's way cool.
Yeah, that's a leech choking that bad boy out. Now, these are from the 80s, so they don't have
Oh, wow.
scientific names or Latin names on here. They have
Mhm.
like the family name. So are they related? They're related to worms loosely.
They are worms, actually. So they
Okay, they
are,
are worms. And
yes. So
Anneliddae or whatever.
leeches are annelids, which
Yeah.
they share the group with uh, earthworms, and I think polychaete worms are also annelids.
Okay.
So they're actually very closely related to earthworms. Um,
Just like predatory,
and so
parasitic.
and it's so they are actually worms. But the something different about them versus polychaete worms and earthworms is they don't have hair. You know, I mean, you don't think of worms as having hair, but earthworms and polychaete worms have hairs.
Like, are they more like cilia, kind of, or
I think it's
like
Kite or something like that.
sensory hairs, kind of?
Yeah,
Setae?
it,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Site.
Setae.
Yeah,
Sure,
forgot
Adi.
that word
Sure.
for like a solid.
Make me
Yeah,
pronounce everything wrong
Site.
tonight.
Yes, they have Site, but leeches do not. Um, but they
Yeah.
are capable of like changing the texture of their skin a bit, and it's kind of interesting.
Wow.
Um,
Wild. It's got so many uses. That kind of a adaptation has so many
mhm,
uses that it's and applications. It's crazy.
mhm.
You wouldn't think
Yeah,
it. You'd be
and
like, "What's the point of that?" But I mean, most of their predators are probably very sensory, like touch based,
mhm,
and that would probably freak them out. You know what I mean? If this thing all of a
mhm.
sudden just changed
Yeah,
texture as they
yeah.
chomp it, or
I don't necessarily know if there's a reason that they do it, but they
yeah,
do it.
I make a lot of assumptions based on common knowledge, so it just makes
Mhm,
sense. So
yeah, it would make sense, and I think they when they like scrunch up, they get rougher,
sure,
um,
sure,
and uh, and so they're just like made of muscle.
Sure.
Like they and another interesting thing that's different about leeches versus other worms is that they can control where the bulk of their body is. They're like they can squeeze into little spaces. The cats wish that they were leeches. They are the extreme example of if I fits, I sits.
I mean, they're basically what, like a loose octopus tentacle. Like they can squeeze probably through the tiniest little opening.
Oh yeah, they're definitely escape artists. So when you keep them, you have to make sure that your enclosure is secure.
I wouldn't want. I feel like they would dry out fast in a home environment. That'd be kind of, not that I'm worried about necessarily being cruel to leeches, but that sounds awesome.
When they're your pets, you need to be thoughtful of them.
Guy Bob, we have a surprise for you. So he says the hospital in his town has used leeches in surgery in recent times, and you have a medicinal leech for us to see, don't you?
Yeah. So it's called a North American medicinal leech, but it's not actually useful for medical purposes. It's just called that.
Oh, okay.
The species that is used in hospitals is Hirudo verbena, which I believe is the European medicinal leech.
Okay.
And no, but there are no rules on whether they can call something medicinal or not. They just biologists just call things, you know.
That's it. My show is now medicinal.
I think it's yeah. I think they're just called that because they're bloodsuckers. But they might also be like used in like traditional medicine or something like that. But North American medicinal leeches are a bloodsucker.
They're used as medicine for people that are too into crystals and like the moon and stuff like that. If you're into that, that's fine. I'm just gonna make fun of you a little bit. So
this species, actually the nice thing about this species is that the reason that they are used in actual medical contexts is for removing congested blood from like post-surgical sites like reattachments and such. Because they have a blood thinner in their saliva, and so how the leech is used is so they get the leech to bite the area that they need the blood drained out of and circulated and whatnot, and they let the leech finish the feeding, and then it drops off on its own, which is what they do. They're not going to just sit there and keep eating indefinitely. They drop off on their own, and then the post-feed bleeding is actually what helps. The post-feed bleeding and the additional circulation.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, bring fresh, clean blood to wash all the junk out. Still, that's good. That's good. Bring platelets to the area. See, I know a little bit of science.
A nice thing about keeping the North American medicinal leeches, which are hard to get right now, because there are not a lot of captive bred ones right now. Like there's like one guy. There's one guy that's been getting cocoons from them. I have a few babies from him. I'm hoping to receive more cocoons this year as warm up and start breeding again. But they you can buy wild caught ones from like a bait website, but
you can get them at a bait shop.
It's not recommended to feed captive or wild caught leeches from your own body for sanitary reasons.
I imagine it's probably kind of gross.
Yeah,
there could be anything in there, right? They could pass even other parasites to you or something. Ugh.
So though a nice thing about leeches is they they are not very good disease carriers.
Good.
Especially I think part of why that is that they go a very long time between feedings, especially as they get bigger and older. An adult Hirudo verbena So that's which is the most common species in the hobby, but I don't have them.
Okay.
Feeding schedule for those is about once every 6 months.
6 months.
Yes.
See, I thought you'd be like, come home from work, dip your forearm in the tank, scroll through your phone a little bit, flick them off after a little bit, like, okay, that's enough, John. Now you need to name one of the leeches, John. That's a great leech name. Ladies, you can order one and name it after your like parasitic ex-boyfriend or current boyfriend. Okay, like, I mean, this is really a good thing for you. It could be like mentally therapeutic.
There are a lot of leeches named Landlord.
Nice, very good, very good.
It's a very popular name for a leech.
That's funny. You can name it after all kinds of politician.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
That kind of thing. That thing is yeah.
Those are almost insults to leeches. I feel like leeches are just doing what they do.
Right, exactly. Right? Like, yeah, knowing what I do about leeches, like a friend of mine made a post referring to an ex as a leech, and I was like, I keep leeches. Here is why this person is not like a leech. Leeches are better.
Yeah. They're not as abusive. They don't mess you up mentally.
Yeah.
You're not going to be listening to, oh, God, I can't even think of her name now. I hate when I make a joke halfway through and mess it up. Never mind. It'll come to me later, and I'll yell out this artist's name, and everyone will laugh. I do these food snacks on the show, and I want to get started on them because I have to try to get to sleep. But my wife bought me habaneros Pringles. They're probably outside of my wheelhouse for spice, which I kind of like spice, but we'll see. I'm going to ask you questions and then take a chip while I listen. It'll help me not interrupt you. Right. Okay, whoa. I just opened these up. This is serious stuff, guys. This is going to be sad. So, all right, I'm scared of this now. But, so you said keeping them. So there's only the one guy that has bred these medicinal, these faux medicinal leeches in captivity.
The North American medicinal leeches. They're Macrobdella decora. In the hobby, we just refer to them as decoras.
There you go, guys. See? We're all learning. There's going to be so many people. You're going to get so many emails after this. It's going to be so fun. Like 2 weeks after this airs, you're going to get emails from people that have no idea and want to keep them. So hopefully let's get enough information out that they can do it. Like we could do like a verbal care sheet. So I want to keep 2 medicinal leeches. Like what kind of space do I need? Can we see it? Can we see it?
Okay.
In the,
so
just the one you have in the tub.
What's what you call it? My Macrobdella decora are still babies. Eventually, I'll have them in a larger container, but right now they're pretty small. Here's one of mine.
I like that. That's pretty small. That is like
So I have it in
one
of those little like a 16-ounce container, and I just open it from time to time to make sure that there's air exchange, but I also have some little plants in there. They're it's much larger than it was when it hatched out of its cocoon.
Sure.
So this one is named Jesus. So, okay, funny story. I thought that this one had died. It had like I think they like one of them like threw up in the container or something or pooped, and a couple of them climbed out of the water, dried up, and then fell back in and seemed to be dead. But I was like, all right, maybe they're not dead. So I separated them out, and they recovered. There was also one named Lazarus. Lazarus started moving a little bit, but then died for good. But
did not recover.
Jesus recovered just fine. I have two more Macrobdella decora, and they are collectively named Colin. If anybody here has read He Who Fights with Monsters, that's a reference to He Who Fights with Monsters. My Macrobdella decora are collectively named Colin.
We are all such dorks. All right, I love it. I love being a dork with you people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Basically, you just need a container of water. Usually some like at least one rock for them to shed on. Stuff for them to hide in. That's like the basic stuff. When they get big enough that you can put them in a larger enclosure, you'll want like a container of moss for them to get out into.
Is this something you have like attached to the side, or
Yeah, so I'll
it's not really like
here,
a?
I'll pick up this enclosure here.
I'm going to ask them how big they get when they're fully fed. Actually, these are not that spicy, guys. These are some good ass chips.
Okay, this is my enclosure for my adult buffalo leeches.
Okay.
Um,
So then you fill it higher so they can get to a little island.
Yeah, so I've got a it's actually a soap dish in there with moss in it that they can crawl into if they want to. I have a little 3D printed hidey hole in there for them.
Can they climb the side of it to get up there?
Yep, they do.
Jesus.
They actually do climb out of the water. They're not amphibians, but they are amphibious. They will just hang out on land sometimes, and a lot of time they'll actually just like buffalo leeches especially will like to rest, just like they'll just have the top part of their body out of the water, and they'll just be lying against the side, and they're actually social, so they'll like pile up like that. It's very cute.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Cute is in the eye of the beholder. But yeah, so
we were talking about these are the things we're talking about, similarities. So we were talking about people being confused about this episode being about leeches, like Leachianus geckos, which I have dubbed scrotums with legs because they feel like scrotums. Pretty much everybody adult has felt a scrotum in their life. So you know what that is. So now this one might be a little more eclectic, but I think of like leeches came about, like if you believe in a created universe, right? You named one Jesus, you named one Lazarus. Maybe you do. Maybe it's just funny.
It's just funny.
But if you're along those lines,
I was raised Lutheran, but
there you go. Yeah. So leeches, I believe, where it might be in the Bible somewhere, were created when the first foreskin got snipped, and they disposed of it, and it hit too close to water. And leeches are the foreskin.
All right, my group of adult buffalo leeches is collectively named the Venus Crew, with a B.
Yes.
Their appearance has not gone unnoticed.
They look
and
like
when they're at rest, when they are at rest, they look a little uncircumcised.
They look like they're from the hood.
And like when you pick them up, that's a scrotum without legs.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice and kind of gross. That makes it funnier. That makes it more likely I would want one. Mm-hmm. I don't see myself. I can't explain that to my wife.
Oh yeah. I guess standard setup for a pet leech is usually you'll want for an adult European medicinal leech, Hirudo verbana, you'll want like at least a gallon jar, maybe ideally a gallon jar. A little bit of rocks in the bottoms. Make sure that there's something for them to shed against, and maybe like a smaller container with moss in it, and then you'll want like holes in the lid, but you'll have like pantyhose between the lid and the jar, so that they can't like crawl through it.
That's a good DIY. I think a lot of guys watching this are using like a mesh. So we would drill. Yeah, do you keep isopods?
Yes, I do.
Obviously, the shirt is so baller. That's a great girlfriend, by the way. You keep her. You hold on to her with both hands and one foot. Okay?
She is an absolute delight.
She likes
the leeches. She likes the leeches. The first time we met in person, she came over and she petted them.
If you can get a girl to pet your leech, guys, fellas, if you can get a girl to consensually pet your leech, you hold on to that girl. like a leech. You hold on to her like a leech. All right. I can't believe how sexual this episode got. So we're making leeches sexy here, you guys. I didn't think that was possible. So I was going to ask you about water change. So you said that one of them pooped or threw up. You said threw up.
Yeah,
Maybe?
yeah. So they do that sometimes.
Do you just say that?
Sometimes it's because they're having a problem, and sometimes they just do it, and there doesn't seem to necessarily be anything wrong. They just go, time to throw up. Like it's.
Oh my God. So okay. So that follows the
So
water.
yeah,
Clearly,
okay.
Climbed out to get away from it, basically. Or you said they
So
climbed out. I'm
yeah,
assuming they got away from the vomit, the poo vomit.
So
right.
I describe the actual act of leech care as being mostly water changes and the occasional blood sacrifice.
Okay. All right.
So they
How often are you changing water, or do you just do it when it's foul?
Basically whenever they poop.
Okay.
If they poop, you notice. So, all right. So, blood-sucking leeches are an extreme example of a feast or famine animal.
Okay.
So buffalo leeches, which I have, ideal feeding schedule for an adult is about once a year.
Okay.
So the leech has a big meal and just kind of chills with that for months and months.
Imagine that weird ass holiday, you guys. Just imagine that weird ass holiday comes around. And you're like, hey, it's Christopher Columbus Day. It's not just that.
Yeah.
Wild. Wild.
It's
So once a year,
since they eat that much food. So all right. A really important resource is there's a subreddit and there's a Facebook group, both called Leech Gang, and you can find care sheets, you can find community there. It's actually a really nice community. We have. You might be surprised to hear that we have a relatively low number of edgelords in the community. People are really excited about the leeches. Like it's actually very wholesome. And people who are going to be like edgy about it, they don't last all that long in the hobby, because if they even get into it at all, because they're faced with the reality of actually feeding your own blood to the animal. So actually there are a couple different ways to feed them. You can feed them from your own body, which is the cheapest and easiest way to do it.
It's once a year.
But you can also, if you can get a hold of antibiotic-free, blood thinner-free beef blood, that is also acceptable, and you can actually store it in the freezer if you're not using it all at once.
How do you just like put them in a bowl with it in a dish?
Yeah, basically. So you can one way to do it is you can get sausage skins and soak them in water to make sure to get most of the salt off. And then you put the blood into the sausage skins, but you can also just put them in a cup with the blood. I've heard it referred to as a blood bath.
Yeah, that sounds. Yep. There you go.
Yep.
There you go. We're due for one of those.
And being in the group is really interesting, because a while back I was scrolling my group feed, just all of the groups, and I thought that I had hit one of my edgier shitposting groups, because I saw what looked to be a big plastic tote full of dark red blood and worms, giant worms. And I scrolled back up and I'm like, oh, it's Leech Gang. Those are giant worms and that is blood, but it's somebody's pets. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. God,
it's fine. This is normal.
The smell of blood. Now, I was a vet tech for 8 years, and the smell of blood is pungent. It's definitely a unique aroma, and to have it on purpose in a bag or sausages, it's wild.
And if it hasn't had any anticoagulants added to it, there shouldn't be. It should be clotted. It should be clotting.
And they're going to eat that. They're okay with that.
They can feed off of the clots, no problem.
Wild. That is wild. So it's like a jelly. It's like the worst jelly ever. So they don't need it to get warm or anything. Like you don't have to like microwave it or
Um,
like
you
baby
actually do
bottle.
need to warm it up a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to get it up to like body temperature ish,
High
ideally when you
90s,
feed it
mid
to
to high
them. Yeah,
90s. Okay.
yeah,
Crazy.
like, yeah.
This is very involved.
Yeah. There's somebody made a guide somewhere on making the blood sausages, but last time I went looking for it, I couldn't find it. But it's probably more practical to just like just do the bloodbath method because they absolutely will eat that way.
So you just throw them all in this tub together.
It's just not as cool looking, huh?
You just throw them in this tub together, and they
Yep.
just go nuts, and then they're
Yeah,
good
you just
for a
put the
year,
blood in
6
there,
months.
put the leeches in there. Oh, and something really important to know is, though it's good to keep leeches together, you don't want to keep fed and unfed leeches together, because
Oh,
the unfed ones will eat the fed ones.
because they can sense the blood inside of them,
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be fresh
it's
squeezed.
yeah they it's not good. And so if
Wow.
you even have like a significant difference in feeding time for different leeches, you may have to split up the group, which I had to do with mine, unfortunately. I'm going to try and feed them all my adults in September,
Okay.
and see
Do it
if
on
I
my
can
birthday.
reintroduce them all together after that.
You can make it my birthday. It'll be a special event. It'll make my birthday like Leech Day. So it's the 18th of September. I'll be 50. That'd be a great birthday present. I'll be 50 years old. Send me your
My
gross
birthday's on the
leeches.
15th.
Whoa, that's my.
Yeah, I'm going to
Well, my
be
sister was
32. Jesus, I'm going to be
32.
32.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 50. So shut up. Uh,
Hey, this is the oldest that I've ever been. Okay.
that's fair. That's fair. That's like that. The people, who is it? Mitch Hedberg had a joke like, "This is a picture of me when I was younger." They're all pictures of you when you were younger. If you get a picture of you when you're older, let me know. No, that's too funny. What was my other question? So okay. So let's see the size. So how much more does that medicinal leech guy have to grow?
I think
Because
that
he's pretty
one
big.
will
Like that
eventually
looks
reach about 8 inches.
on average or like stretched out. Because that one is
Stretched out.
stretched.
Stretched out.
Okay. All right.
It's
Because it looked
fully extended about 8 inches once it's full sized.
okay. All right. And
Uh,
that's so when they feed, are they like triple the size? Are they just like
yeah,
girthy
they
beasts?
yeah, depends on the species and the age of the leech, the size of the leech. The Somebody measured their adult buffalo leeches before and after a feeding recently,
Okay.
and they doubled in size. They they each took a 40-gram leech ate 40 grams of blood.
Wow.
So so you'll see things online saying leeches like become 10 times their size, and like maybe that's for some, and maybe at very young ages. But an adult buffalo leech apparently only doubles in size.
Only apparently only doubles in
Only.
size. Like that one lady we've all seen at Old Country Buffet. You know who she is. You know who she is. No shame. Enjoy those mashed potatoes. I do. I do. I walk out of there and it hurts. I get it. I don't think I've ever gained my weight at a buffet, but I did my best. I did my best.
Yeah.
Something about those
Yeah.
instant mashed potatoes at those places. Oh.
When they're still small, they do definitely become multiple times their size, like definitely more than twice their size. I'm going to show you what the newborn baby buffalo
Yeah.
leeches look like.
These are a couple days old, you guys. Like, I know how big you think they're going to be. There they are. They're just hanging out. They're little buddies.
There are 16 of them in here. They were all in this cocoon here.
Oh, they're agitated now. They were in that cocoon. 16. Okay. How many of those do you get a year? How many of those cocoons could you get in a year?
I put them in their moss box about once a month, and they're like, all right, time to make a cocoon.
Once a month.
So,
okay,
yeah,
so once a month you
once a
get
month
16.
from each.
Do they both lay eggs?
Actually
They
have
both
some.
lay the cocoon then.
Yes. So they actually have some recently laid cocoons here.
So you just keep those on moss. You don't put those in water. Oh God, they're so gross. Are they
Yeah, so
jelly-like?
so that's a protective foam on them,
Oh, it's a
and then the
foam.
actual
Okay.
cocoon is inside there. The
Okay.
foam keeps them moist. And you can dig them out of the foam, but you you have to like loosely cover them with the moist moss. When you're incubating the cocoons, you keep them in moist moss, rather than like in water.
Right.
But once they're it takes like 3 to 4 weeks for a cocoon to develop, depending on temperature.
Okay.
Ideal temperature for buffalo leeches is about 80 degrees. I keep mine at about 75 because that's room temperature for me, and
Okay.
it's difficult to figure out the heaters and with small containers.
Yeah.
And they're still breeding, so
Clearly, it's
presumably it's fine.
so, and they're coming out just fine.
Yeah,
So,
they're
I
not
mean,
complaining.
so then,
Yeah.
I mean, they'll probably burrow into that moss when they hatch, right? Or do you kind of know,
So
like, okay, we're
I
putting
kind of
them
keep
in
an
the
eye on it.
tub.
Sometimes they do hatch out into the moss, and but with the buffalo leeches, especially, they sometimes won't like come out on their own, especially if there isn't like the just right moisture conditions for them.
Right.
So I actually wait for them to make a little hole at one end of the cocoon,
Okay.
which is where they would come out of, and then I will actually very carefully, making sure not to cut any of the leeches inside, I will cut it open or pull it open, and then I set it in some very shallow water. And if they're ready to come out, they come out. But I have to wait until they make that little hole, because that means that they're ready to come out.
Okay. Like a
And I also
chick or
make
another.
sure that they have that. I also candle the cocoon to make sure that they're like properly leech shaped and ready to come out.
They do have shapes.
And
They do have shapes.
yep, and they and after at least for buffalo leeches, after they hatch, you need to wait at least 10 days before feeding them.
Okay.
And in a pinch, you can wait like 2 or 3 months before feeding them if you have to.
Okay.
But the feeding schedule that I used for mine that are adults now is I waited 3 weeks between the first and second feeding, and then 6 weeks between the second and third feeding, and then some number of months before the fourth feeding. But I think I fed them a little too early because they weren't all eager to feed at that time, which is why I ended up having to split them all up, which is unfortunate.
Oh, right. Because some of them ate, some of them didn't, and then it was time for the other ones. And
Yeah,
Elaine Smith wants to know what's the purpose of your leeches.
they're pets. I just think
Go.
they're neat. The the cover image in the Leech Gang group is that like the Marge holding a potato meme where she says, "I just think they're neat, but there's a leech photoshopped onto the potato instead." I just think they're neat.
See, Elaine, that's why we keep all the things we keep. We just think they're neat. Like I have some
Yeah.
stick insects on the way right
Yeah.
now. They're supposed to come on Thursday, you guys. So I'll have an unboxing
nice.
video for you.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't had them in a long time. So, and I guess they sent me some blackberry clippings or some starter plants.
Nice.
I don't know. So that'll be good too. So I'll have blackberries.
Nice. Would you like to see my adult buffalo leech?
No. Yeah, we would. This thing's even bigger than I thought it was, you guys. Like, just looking at it in the tub, like it's.
All right.
How
so
big
I'm
do these
actually
guys
gonna pick
get?
it up.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's your choice.
Yeah.
Are you putting on gloves?
Yes, I'm putting on gloves. It's
That's
a good
for the
idea to wear
leech's sake?
gloves with like most animals anyway. But
Okay.
these guys haven't been fed since like February. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if they're actually ready to feed or not. I'm not going to try to feed them right now.
Okay.
But I'm going to be mindful and make sure that I don't get accidentally bitten.
Okay. I mean, if you want to feed them now,
Yeah. No.
whatever.
No. No. It takes like 2 hours.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna be sitting there. So does this show. You should have started right away. Could have had it hanging off your neck the whole episode. We watch it get fatter and fatter. Good Lord, it's like a sausage or a dog turd.
Yeah. Sometimes people post pictures of their leeches uh, in their moss box for cocoon laying, and I'm just looking at them, and I'm like, this just looks like a box full of grass clippings and dog turds.
That is so, like, I love that it just has that probing little nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you can't resist petting it.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a pet, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And
think of what it reminds me of. Like, my brain can't calculate that that's a leech. Like, if I came out of a pond and I saw that on me, that size of a leech, my throat would explode because I'd never stop screaming. Like, it would be that episode of The Simpsons with Homer just for a month. Ah, that would be it.
Yeah. And we can show you here that they have a like a little suction cup on each end of the body. You can't really see it that well on the head right now. But there is one.
Yeah, you can kind of.
Yeah. And when they feed, so actually their like jaws are like further back in their body. So when they go to feed, they actually have to like kind of push their face against the host's body. They just it's really funny. They basically get a flat face like a cartoon running into a wall.
He wants your
But
love.
then they get like they get their jaws up into there.
Oh, it's gross. What are their jaws? Now I want to Google their jaws. Like,
they have 3 jaws, and they have a bunch of teeth on those jaws. Oh yeah, and they have a sucker on the butt too.
Like a rasp kind of a thing, like a snail almost.
Quite, and there are like actually 3 jaws, and they kind of like they chew through your skin.
See, that looks like a lamprey. I thought there'd be more pictures of just the jaws, but it's just, good Christ, this guy's got a leap. That's got to be photoshopped.
Did you find the one that's the giant one next to somebody's arm feeding?
It looks like 3 of them on their arm. Let me share this because it's.
Oh yeah.
You got to tell me if this is real or not, because I'm gonna have so many nightmares. Okay, let's see.
I'm gonna put this little guy back in the container.
Yeah,
you can actually, when they're not hungry, you can just scoop them up and hold them. Oh yeah, that's real.
So these are buffalo leeches, or is this something else?
Those are buffalo leeches. It takes them a long time to get that big, but you can see this little guy is about the same size as the small one in the person's hands in that photo.
That's insane. Like, I had no idea they got like forearm size. Like, I just wanted to see.
It takes them a long time to get that big, but they can get that big.
Now, speaking of that, so on buffalo leeches, like, what's a lifespan like? They only eat once a year, so they got to live forever, right?
So yeah, the short answer as to how long buffalo leeches live is we don't quite know, but we know that that Hirudo verbana can live for up to about 8 years, and we assume that buffalo leeches can live longer than that.
What's the longest? The longest one that in captivity that you know the story?
I don't know offhand. That's actually not a number that I have access to, unfortunately.
That's okay.
But
you got to ask around on that Reddit.
It does take them a few years to. It does take them a few years to get that big. I think mine that I just showed you just now is about like 11 months old.
Okay. So then, how long have you been keeping
4 feedings in?
How long have you been keeping leeches?
Since last July.
Okay. I feel like, and you're already breeding them. And
yeah,
do you use the?
I gave them their first feeding last July, and they produced their first cocoon at the end of October, sometime after their third feeding.
That is so wild. So, all right. So 8 years is the estimate, but that's not for
that's
buffalo.
That's for the European medicinal leech. So we in the hobby we just call them verbanas or banas for short.
Okay.
BANA. Yeah.
I like banas better. Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they were yellow, they'd be
and buffalo leeches. We like to call them buffs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know that I'll do that, but I like it. I like it. It doesn't matter.
But
I'm not going to
call them that. If you see someone post a photo of leeches and they're talking about buffs, that's buffalo leeches.
I mean, I think I'll know. If it's as big as their shoe, I'll be like, oh, okay, it's definitely that one. Are there any?
You can see that they like to like clump together and hang out.
Yeah, I see that. Safety in numbers, I guess. Well, they spent all that time. They spent all that time together in that thing, right? So, but you said they do that as adults.
I think they probably think that there's a storm coming. Because
you're near me, so you probably got hit.
Leeches are actually known for being able to tell the weather.
Or
they're predicting. They can predict storms. I think it's probably like an air pressure thing.
Yeah, barometric.
Yeah, a long time ago. I don't remember what the date was exactly, but somebody invented a machine called the tempest prognosticator, or the leech barometer, and it consisted of this like kind of chandelier shaped device that had a bunch of glasses with leeches in them, and the glasses were attached to some sort of stopper or something, and when the leeches detected a storm coming and they tried to climb out of the water, they would set off like a little bell.
Okay.
And depending on the number and frequency of the bells would predict the likelihood and severity of the storm.
Now, so you live by me, supposedly, right? You live. I'm in Joliet, Illinois.
I am in Pennsylvania.
That's not you. Somebody lives by me. Somebody was just talking about living by me. Never mind. We just had massive storms come through here. So,
I had some leeches with me at an expo.
Okay.
And there was some serious raining happening, and they crawled up out of the water in their little display containers.
So they all climb out of the water when it's a storm. That seems like a weird.
So I presumably so they don't like get like washed around, you know. I don't know. I'm not a leech.
That makes sense.
I don't know, and the leeches don't know, but it's their instinct to crawl out of the water.
They're not like, time to go for a walk.
Yeah, no.
Time to go for a walk, buddy. That's just a wild. They detect the weather. And if someone had really cool. I wouldn't have had that idea, but that's a very Josh-like idea to come up with some weird leech chandelier. Chandelier.
It wasn't something that they wanted to use like seriously, but apparently it worked. So
I mean, I would have kept that in my house.
It was just a cool toy.
Yeah, it would have been in my house
for the rest of my life. Somebody made a working version of it at some point. It did the thing.
Awesome. Just because. Again, because.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You have a bunch of leeches. You have a used chandelier. You have some bells. Like, do it.
It's a really fantastical looking machine. So if you search leech barometer, you can find some really interesting images.
Guys, I'm on it. So what's the hardest thing about keeping these leeches?
Um,
Because they don't seem to have like crazy water parameters. Are you using like any like tap water or obviously not
so
tap water?
since my tap water is absolute trash,
Yeah.
I have to use I have to use bottled spring water. Um, I bought a uh, an RODI unit, but I haven't bothered to set it up. Um, Once I actually get that set up, I should be able to prepare water more easily and or at least a lot more cheaply. I have remineralizer that's made for shrimp
Okay.
that I would be adding to it. Uh, the Yeah, that's the one. Isn't that cool?
There's a couple actually. A couple people have done this apparently because there's one that's just jars in a thing.
Mhm.
That's just wild to me. I don't know if you guys can zoom in better than that. I don't know if I can zoom in better than that. Let's see. Yeah, so there's jars of leeches here. I don't
Mhm.
see any water though. Maybe this is
I think
just
that might be.
a
I
show.
think that might be a non-functioning model, and those are just fake leeches in there.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, this looks like fake leeches again. That's okay.
That's
We'll
okay.
find it. We'll find it.
I don't know if you'll be able to find a photo of real leeches in one, but
I mean, the
somebody made
machine
one to
is
see if it would work,
just.
and it did. But now it's just now I think they don't keep leeches in it.
Here's
They
the
just have
original
it
one,
on
I think.
display.
This is like
That's
the
the diagram. Yeah.
this is like what they have at the patent office.
Yeah.
like, here's the bell. Here's the freaking bell. Like, this is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Oh yeah.
That
So
is wild.
I want to give an honorable mention to the leech that brought a whole bunch of people into the hobby. There
Okay.
was a leech named Princess that
Yeah.
somebody posted on Twitter, and with the caption something like "Feeding time for Princess again." I just love watching her get bigger from my blood. And this made the rounds on a screenshot of this made the rounds on Facebook a while back, and
Wild.
occasionally reappears. And a bunch of people tag the Leech Gang group, and that's that's how people get into the hobby. Um,
Whatever it takes.
Unfortunately, that person apparently got bullied off Twitter for that post, which is really sad. Um, but
That is
Salute
sad.
to
Like,
Princess for bringing so many people into the hobby.
that's sad that someone would be bullied off Twitter. Now that said, like, I tease people, so like, not to the point that I would, I hope, I hope I've never been the last nail in the
People were
coffin.
saying some nasty things to this person. It was.
You need to watch the show a little bit more here, okay? About this. There's definitely a difference between like lighthearted, playful teasing and
Yes, exactly.
bullying. So,
Yeah.
unless you're into really weird stuff that like is harmful to yourself and
Mm-hmm.
others, like it's going to be lighthearted, playful teasing for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then it kind of gets like
To be entirely fair, the way they were talking about it was like a little weird, but like the animal is not being harmed.
right.
And it's not like it's been placed somewhere gross or something like that. Like
Oh yeah,
it's fine.
yeah, scrotum. Don't do scrotum feedings, you guys. Those things bleed like crazy. Don't do
Yeah, I
it.
would not recommend that. Oh yeah,
No.
the post feed bleeding is the most annoying thing about feeding them. Because so depending on the species of the leech, the size of the leech, and your body, the bleeding can last anywhere from 30 minutes to multiple days.
Jesus. Okay,
Yes.
so maybe get
The Macrobdella decora are on the extreme short end of that. And so you feed them and then you bleed for a little while and then it stops.
a little
But
while.
yeah.
A little while, a couple days.
A little while.
Yeah.
The Macrobdella decora it only bleeds for a little while, like
Okay. Okay.
not really more than half an hour or so, and you may or may not even need a Band-Aid after that.
Yeah.
But after I feed my buffalo leeches, uh, the initial fast bleeding takes not a super duper long time to calm down, but
Yeah.
well, okay. The post feed bleeding is dramatic enough that people habitually bandage themselves with menstrual pads.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, it sounds like a big deal, but honestly, it occurred to me like women bleed for a couple days once a month, and they seem all right. Like they seem
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
through it.
It
So it
it
makes
looks
sense
like
doing
it
things like
looks like a lot more blood than it is.
that.
Um,
I assume, yeah, because it's
yeah.
thinned out a little
It's
bit too.
but it can be very it can be rather alarming to look at.
I mean,
um, you have
yeah,
to if you want to keep leeches, you have to be okay with seeing blood. If you want to keep the blood sucking species, obviously. But and
yeah,
if you want to feed them from your body, um, you have to be prepared to see a lot of your own blood. And it does and again it looks like a lot, but it's not as much as it looks like.
yeah.
But it's that's some very dramatic bleeding. But personally, my buffalo leech bites usually take at least a day and a half to stop oozing.
So now, you said they have like three jaws. Does that freaking hurt, or is it? Do
So
they have like a
it's
numbing
so
agent?
they also have a what you call it
Is it like a numbing thing? Like they have
yeah
lidocaine in them or something?
yeah.
Okay,
They have a numbing agent in their saliva.
because I feel like if you notice them
And so
chewing on you,
yeah,
like
you
you pick them
yeah,
up.
it depends on the leech and the person and the species and actually sometimes on the individual leech because some of them are more aggressive eaters than others. They have personalities. But yeah, some people don't feel much at all when a leech latches. And for the majority of the feeding, you actually don't. Usually, you don't feel them much. Like the primary sensation is wet worm on body. Um,
Yeah, sure.
and but yeah, for me, it's just kind of like a little bit of a pinch,
Okay.
like a needle going in, but without a needle going in. There's nothing going in. It's just cutting just a little hole. Um, and then they sit there and they just wait for the blood to go into them.
Uh,
Um,
Justin took my question. So you mentioned blood feeding species, implying that there's ones that don't eat blood. Like, what else
yes.
are these leeches eating?
So there are predatory species. You brought up the photo of
Yeah, that
the
one
newt
eating a
earlier or something.
salamander, whatever. Yeah,
Salamander, yeah. Um,
newt. I don't know what. I didn't know the species he was eating, but yeah,
yeah.
that
It
seems to
was
be.
some sort of salamander. Yeah, the and there's a really interesting video you could find somewhere on YouTube that shows some very large leeches eating baby toads.
I don't know if I
Um,
saw that. I saw the one recently where it just like went savage trying to find a worm,
mm.
and then just
Yeah,
like ruh, ruh, ruh.
there are definitely species that prefer worms. Um, yeah, and there are some that prefer snails. There are some that aren't that picky at all. There are some that eat other leeches.
Makes
Um,
sense. Okay,
yeah,
how many
and
species are we
and
talking? Oh, go
speaking
ahead.
of leeches eating leeches, somebody uh, imported some wild caught buffalo leeches, like a different species of buffalo leech. And
Okay,
they found a leech on the leech. There was
on
a
the
smaller
leech, on
leech
the
feeding
leech.
on one of the bigger leeches.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah,
That's just nature.
yeah.
That would be a hard one to keep in
It's
the
kind of
wild.
cool. It's
Yeah, in a weird way. In a weird
yeah,
way. Only hobbyists like us with
yeah.
weird.
Yes. Parasites all the way down.
Yeah, it's
Um,
yeah. The parasites. When you look at parasites alongside evolution, like we would not probably be here without our parasites.
mhm.
It's amazing. It's a
Yeah.
weird relationship. But
Mhm.
the things the parasites can do to internal parasites more than, say, your leeches or mosquitoes. I don't know anybody that keeps mosquitoes as pets, but they're probably out there. I would imagine that they're out there. Those people are around.
I think there are definitely people keeping kissing bugs as pets.
Kissing bugs. Oh, the ones that like feed on your, they go to your lip or whatever, supposedly.
Yeah. I don't know much about them other than that some people keep them as pets and that they can carry diseases.
Yeah, they can cause like major paralysis. Oh wait, is that Bingo? Can you guys see her up there? Climbing on the. She's right. I'm looking.
There she is. Aww.
There she is. She's a big girl. There she is.
Aww.
I never see her on that branch. That's kind of cool. I move everything around in there once in a while so that she has some. This is a dog pool that I built this out of. You could fill this with leeches. They don't get out. You could do it. You got it for like $30. This whole thing was like $80. This whole setup.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, pretty decent.
That's pretty good.
Pretty decent. Yeah, I didn't know I was going to be into a blue tongue skink. Sorry, they're leech shaped, somewhat.
All good.
Yeah, I didn't think that would be a thing. I don't even know how this episode came about. Honestly, someone said you want to talk to Adi Yarroll, like that's the guy, or Adi Yarroll. That's the guy. And I said, okay, all right, let's call him.
Yeah. And it's and I want to give a big shout out to the Leech Gang community because it's a really good group. It's everyone's like super nice. And something interesting about leech keeping and about how the leech keeping community views the animals. Most people who feed from their bodies enjoy doing so. Not in like a creepy way, but in like you're nourishing another creature from your own body. And there's something like satisfying about that.
You can always just have a baby, like, and be a woman.
Well,
I guess.
But I know
what you're saying.
That's a lot more work than a leech.
That's true. Well,
it's a little like breastfeeding, except a lot less frequent and a lot messier.
That's true. There you go. Yeah.
Yep. And
you had to feed a kid like once a year. That would be pretty dope.
And then you just put it in a little box of water and it does its thing.
Once in a while, look, they stick together, like they all hang out. So feed a baby cat from your nipple. No, God, gross. Looch, come on.
I wouldn't recommend that.
That might be rough.
You joke about that, but it's actually really not good for kittens to drink human breast milk.
I'm sure someone is doing it right now.
Yes.
Right now, somewhere.
It's like an issue with like wildlife rehabbers will be presented with a rescued baby animal and that somebody tried to feed human breast milk to like that's that, and the poor thing ends up like malnourished and it's not good.
This is why I like animals.
Do not breastfeed other animals.
Yeah,
that's not a sentence that should have to be said, but
I mean,
like there are like posts out there about it that are like, please do not.
Luch says he would never feed a baby cat from his nipple, which is good because Luch is a man, so that's a good choice, Luch. It would be very malnourished. Crazy ass. There was a woman kicked off a plane for breastfeeding her cat. Kicked off a plane. That is the most Florida sentence I've ever seen. There's a woman kicked off a plane for breastfeeding her cat. So here you have a loose cat on an airplane. Okay, that's the first thing that's pissed me off about this story. Then you have a lady who probably didn't even use the blanket. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm pro breastfeed your kid in public, but like, have the blanket. Come on, man. Like, every guy in the room has, like, not every guy, but most guys in the room will be like, oh, I can't look at you at all. And that's just weird. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just, it's not, I don't know. It's fine. I'm not, do what you got to do. I'm not kicking anyone off plane for their kid. But breastfeeding a cat, like, what is the point of that? You want to be on the news. That's the only reason.
Yeah. Like,
that's the only reason you do that. Like the lady that tried to get on the plane with her emotional support peacock. Like, shut up. walk everywhere from now on if you have to have a peacock. Like that's the weirdest. Sorry, yeah, I get a little teasy, but
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. There animals do not belong in all of the places. Unless you have like an actual service animal that does a task. An emotional support animal is not legally a service animal.
like a legally trained, certified
Yeah.
support
Yeah, like
animal.
if you have like a dog that does something,
yeah,
that's
not a cat that's gonna
yeah,
freak out.
not a peacock. You don't have a seeing eye peacock.
Unbelievable.
You don't have a peacock that detects like sugar crashes or
Yeah,
like
or seizures. The peacock's
yeah.
like, ah, that means lay down. Like lay down. The peacock's gonna go get help. Like what the fuck is
Yeah.
wrong with people? We are
I
failed. We are a failed experiment.
yeah,
Speaking
like
of failed experiments, could you use like a hairless cat to feed your leeches or a hairless guinea pig? Could you be
it would not be humane. It would not be
sure,
a nice thing to do to the host animal, and it would also be very dangerous for the leech
that's
because
possible.
the animal would probably groom it off and eat it,
I'm
or at
mostly
least bite it.
joking, but I feel like it's
Yeah.
cool to have hairless animals, like to have bred hairless animals in the first place.
Mm.
We don't need that. I mean, they're
I think, and if you
gross to me.
take proper care of the hairless animal, like
Sure.
not everybody does take proper care of the hairless animal, which is an issue. But
I think generously
if
20%.
people are prepared to take on the extra care involved,
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with hairless animals, but they do as I understand it, they actually eat a lot more food because they have to keep up their body temperature
They eat a lot
without
more
fur.
food. So you have to have a hotter house. You have to have. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the hairless animal. I'm not a fan of any of these animals that we like mutated for aesthetics purely, like munchkin cats and those horrifying dwarf horses that are like the size of a dog. Like those poor. They have so many malformations and they don't live long, and it's just mean. It's just mean to do that to a creature like on purpose to make that like it's a Frankenstein horrible thing. I didn't think we would get there from leeches. Like I'm on the side. I'm on team leech now versus team gross monster creature that we made. I mean, if you're into that, that's fine. Like I'm not going to go take it from you or hate you for having those animals, but I think that they're like the munchkin cats are the ones that got me the maddest, I think, as when I was at Vet Tech, because they're adorable. Like, don't get me wrong, they're super cute. But then you get in close and all the mutations and the awful, it's just not good. It's not good for the animal. It's not. So I'm joking about feeding your leeches with hairless animals. Just because of the sheer bleeding.
But I felt like I needed to address it anyway, because sometimes people genuinely think that that's the appropriate thing to do. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, leeches.com has some care guide somewhere that recommends feeding them from a pet. And I'm like, yes, there are all sorts of issues with that unpleasant person.
That's a horrible person. That is a I got to get this website thing
going. And the really annoying thing is like, she gets like a bunch of she like sponsors a bunch of like YouTubers and stuff, and I don't know how much of that is actively going on right now, but and a lot of videos that you'll watch about leeches, someone will be saying to buy them from that website. It's like it's not good. Don't do that.
That's heinous.
Yes.
All right, Aunt Sandy, have a good night. We're about to wrap it up. So if anyone else has any other questions, go ahead. If you message me links, actually, I have it here. Hold on. I think I have your link that you sent me that I'm going to put in comments and then put in the description too. So for your thing, right? Did we?
What was it? I think I sent you a link to the isopod shirt in case somebody wanted it. I don't remember if
This
I
is the
sent you
shirt.
any other.
This is the shirt link
That's the shirt. Yeah. Okay.
from Etsy.
Yep. Yeah, if anybody's keen on this, they also have like dresses and stuff and jackets and shoes. You can get shoes with these on them.
That would be dope, like Converse type of thing.
Yep.
That would be super cool. Etsy, $60.
Yeah, my girlfriend got this for me.
That's actually not bad. Again, keeper. She's a keeper.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. She's awesome.
I mean, when they get you like that, that's awesome. I recently wore a handmade isopod shirt to the zoo. It was Brookfield Zoo. And I had 4 guys my shape compliment me, my size, my shape, compliment me, not my height, right? But, and I was like, yeah, man, awesome. And then this is how awful I am. So this beautiful woman stops me like, I love your shirt. And I was just like, oh my. My wife was 30 feet away with my kid, and I was like, oh yeah, do you keep iSpots? Like, I'm having a conversation. It was awful. I'm so awful.
You can talk to a woman. It's okay, unless you get like weird about it.
I didn't get weird, but the funny thing was like
you can have a conversation with a woman about isopods. It's okay.
But the 4 dudes, I was like, thanks guys, see you later. Like I was like, I had no intention of talking to them. I was like, I don't want to talk to you at all. This girl was just like a stunning woman. And I was like, wife, I got to talk to this lady about isopods for a minute. I'm sorry. Yeah, it didn't get weird. It was just like a longer than normal, stranger conversation about bugs. Yeah, and it was funny to see her friends like, ew, what are you talking to this guy about bugs for? That part was really funny. So
yeah, this is a lot of fun to wear to reptile shows.
Oh, I bet
people just absolutely love it. And my girlfriend helped me out at my table at a show that I vended recently. And she wore like a spider-based outfit. It was very cool.
That's cool. Another vendor or your girlfriend?
My girlfriend. My girlfriend.
See, that's awesome. I see people at shows all the time that are like almost cosplay.
She keeps spiders. She has a bunch of tarantulas and some velvet spiders. And if anybody has any leads on an ogre-faced spider, let me know.
I do. Yeah, I do actually.
Do you? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if they'll be available right now, but
we've seen the ones on Marshall that have been out of stock for a while.
That's my guy. I don't know who has them right now, but
okay,
that's my ogre. I just messaged it to you.
Yeah.
So you know the good people. You know the good people.
Yeah, Emily, she's been on that email list for a while, and they've been out of stock for like a year. So
they went through a lot. They went through their big move, so that kind of stymied a bunch of stuff. So Jess is working on it. I've been told they are some of the best spider keepers I can even imagine. So I promote them as much as possible because they are changing the game. So and I love that people are getting on board with that. So I like to say I like the setup. I don't like bare bones setups very much, but I like the way you have almost a marriage. I feel like if you had a setup that was plants and like a bioactive almost or a real aquarium, you would just never see.
I have another tank that has like more gravel and plants, but but they're not in it right now because they got fed at different times. But the reason that I go for a setup without too much substrate in it is it makes it easier to do water changes because they take giant shits. They eat these big meals and they take these big poops. And actually, interestingly, before that first time that my girlfriend came over, and that was actually before we were dating. She came over and I did a water change on my leeches because they had some shed skins in there, and I was like, all right, we'll clean that up a little. And it had been like a couple months since they had been fed, at least like a few months maybe. And but in the 15 minutes it took for between the water change and her coming up here, they pooped, and the water was just solid brown, like almost black. It was just like just a box of shart, like, and
Like I can't
so
imagine the blood.
so when she came in and I went to grab them, I was like, oh, so I just kind of like rinsed them off in another container, and then she petted them.
That smell has to be pretty awful too.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe
You
any.
want to know something something really cursed.
Okay.
So human poop contains a lot of blood. What makes it brown is the bilirubin, I think, which comes from like dead blood cells. Um, so uh, so leech poop is if you're feeding from your own body, it is also poop that has your blood in it. So it kind of smells similar. Like
So it smells like your own poop. So it's like your brand.
yeah. I realized this one day because like I farted and I was like, it smells kind of like leech poop, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a reason for that. That's wow. Yes. So there's your cursed leech knowledge there. Yeah. And which also means, you know, most people are bothered less by the smell of their own poops and farts and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Which also means that also means if you do the maintenance yourself on leeches that you fed yourself, the smell isn't going to bother you as much.
So it's like your fart second cousin is the leech shit. If you're
It's really it's really interesting keeping an animal that is like made of you. Like they don't eat anything else. All of the nutrition comes from the blood.
It is so weird.
So all of the biomass in this little blob here came from me.
Oh, that's beautiful in the grossest, weirdest way ever.
Right.
Oh God. What did you call the thing earlier? Crypto, what is it?
Crypto larvae.
Crypto larvae. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's horrifying. I just see
They're
like
definitely one of my favorite animals that I've kept. I also keep isopods, springtails, spiders. I've got a couple of jumping spiders and several tarantulas.
Sure.
What other nonsense do I have? Oh yeah, I have a whole bunch of roaches. The roaches are a lot of fun.
No wonder you know TJ. That's Luch
Yeah,
reminded
that
me
would
that
be why.
I was
Yeah.
talking to TJ because he had
The roach hobby has been just like really welcoming. Like I love the roach hobby. The roach people are great. Like you know, some of the exotics hobbies people can be
dirt frogs. Dirt frogs. Sorry.
Haven't gotten involved in that one yet, but I believe you.
Dirt frog
but like when I was just getting some of my first roaches, you know, I'm coming from an isopod hobby background into roaches, and I won an auction for a whole bunch of orange domino roaches, and I was asking all of these questions about care for them, and I was talking to the seller, and the seller was actually getting out of the hobby, not doing so much of the roaches anymore. But I was like worried that I was like being annoying and that I was like demonstrating that I didn't know anything about the animals. But they were like, I'm really glad that these are going to you. I think that you are just what this hobby needs. And I'm
that's
like,
exactly right.
That was just really nice to hear.
If I was a seller, I would want to sell to the people with the most questions, like
the
right questions.
Yes.
You want to definitely like that. That's the people that are really into it. They're not afraid.
Yes.
They're more concerned about the animal than they are for being like embarrassed or whatever for looking stupid or whatever they put on themselves.
Yeah.
It's just such a good idea. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I dump on dart frog. I know some great dart frog people. I know some great people that keep dart frogs.
Yeah.
But go to a dart frog Facebook group and ask any question. Ask any question because you don't know something. You will be shit upon from a great height, my friend. Oh my God. Just ask if you use RO or spring water. Just ask that. Just ask that question.
No. Oh no.
30 people will eat you alive and not even care. and the rest will watch and just go. That's the group.
Some
That's the
hobbies, it's best to just like observe from the shadows and learn your things that way.
I mean, they're beautiful. I love dart frogs.
They're so cool. I want some someday, but I don't know if I have the energy for them right now.
Well, they're not that hard. They're not that hard, really. It's just a matter of keeping the, everything clean, basically.
Yeah.
That's all they need. So, and if you get them bioactive, you do all the ice spot springtail situation, like, you're fine. They'll be fine. So, anyway, I had a great time. I don't know if you could tell. I didn't know it was going to be this much fun to talk about leeches. I'm glad you rolled with a lot of the. You had no idea what you were in for. This is great. So
I had a blast.
I asked Adi before we came on, like, have you seen the show? No. Oh, awesome. Everybody's at least watched a little bit of an episode before they come on, so they know that we roll off the rails and go a little wild. So
life has been chaos, and it just didn't occur to me to do that. It would have been a good idea, but it didn't go badly, not knowing.
See, I can tell just by your leech names too that you're very faith-based, and that was a very faith-based leap.
I'm agnostic, but I was raised Lutheran.
Okay, fair enough. I'm a practicing Christian because I'm just not good at it, but could do a lot better.
And my mom's family is Jewish, so I know like some of the Jewish stuff as well.
That's cool.
So that's pretty neat.
I'm fascinated by religions and cultures. So, like all different cultures, as like a standard, like mid-grade honky. Like I'm fascinated by. I don't have a culture. Like I don't have any cultures. I have American, which is not anything to brag about these days. But I don't have that. Like a lot of my friends have that background. They're like, oh, I speak this because my family's from here, and I do this because we believe in this. And it's like, that's really cool. Like I don't have any of that. And I a little envy it, But I love that part of it. That's why I love doing the show, talking to people from different points of view. But yeah, thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for talking about leeches and sharks and beef, leech beef. So we learned a couple things. We learned you can feed your leeches from your own body. You can just buy a bucket of blood from somewhere. Maybe we'll find you a link, guys, and we'll put it in the comments. So yeah,
I went looking before I got my leeches. I tried to find somebody. I contacted a bunch of local butchers. I finally got a hold of a kosher beef farmer in Texas who was willing to sell me some blood, but he only did one slaughter a year, and he had just done it, so it was too late.
So you had to wait another year. So don't feed him.
And then he emailed me this year when he was going to do it again, and I missed the email, so I didn't get any blood from him this time either. But next year.
Guy Bob here says you could have Lutheran leeches, and that'd be the Christian alternative to halal leeches. Or you could do the kosher leeches, since you're like half Jewish. You could do kosher leeches. Sounds good.
I think leeches. I think blood is just not kosher in general.
Probably. I don't know the deal, but yeah, I don't know enough about it.
Probably fine if you're like not eating them, but
that's true.
I don't know enough about it, but the guy that I talked to seemed to think it was very interesting what I was doing. So,
I mean, you're gonna get that guy that's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
When people ask me about my sticker on my phone, like, what's that, from a cartoon? It's like, no, that's my logo.
How nice.
Oh, the funniest part is you're like, oh, I have a YouTube channel. And you're like, oh my God. Like, oh, who are you? It's like, really nobody.
I'll show you one of my stickers.
The joke with me is I have something in common with Trump. That's Melania. We're the same nationality. What is this? Oh, the fuzzy bumpers.
Fuzzy bumpers, nano critters. This is my logo.
And it's a springtail. That's actually really good. That's really well done.
Thank you. One of my friends designed this for me. And
I had.
are you familiar with Budsies?
No.
You like their thing is like you send in like a kid's drawing and they make a plush toy of it.
Oh, I am familiar then. Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, it's not just kids drawings and stuff, but I'm having a plush made of this little springtail guy. His name is Gerald.
Gerald.
Yep. I'm
Funny,
actually
this is
having them
Gordon.
make two, one for me and one for the artist.
This is Gordon. So, and
Oh, nice.
it's my design, but it got touched up by one of the character designers from Archer.
Oh, nice.
So,
Oh, that's really
yeah. Not going to name drop a little bit there. Okay. We're on that page. But yeah, now that I did all of that, we're actually going to go now. I'm going to pull you out and do the expo, the extra stuff. If you want to stick around and chat a little bit afterwards, I have a little bit of time afterwards, but
Sure.
All right. Give me a minute.
All right.
Oh, everybody say goodbye. Bye, Adi. It was nice to meet
Bye-bye.
you. I'm saying that
coming.
right this time, right?
Adi,
Thanks
yep.
for coming. Thanks for coming, guys. We had like 13 people at one time for most of the things. So
nice.
Pretty good for a live stream.
Good.
All right, cool. See you in a minute. All right, guys, that was it. We've got our Patreon. I need to post the links more. We have our Patreon, IsoBuddies, patreon.com/IsoBuddies. We have the Fourth Wall channel, or not channel, the Fourth Wall shop with merch. We're going to be adding some more merch to that pretty soon. I Hate a Cicada. I'm working on that. Although I don't think it's timely anymore, but we'll put it up there anyway. It doesn't cost anything to make the design. We're going to do a lot more stuff. This is the end of the show, so I can do this now and maybe not lose anybody, but we got 34 guilty charges, you guys. 34. Not that anything will happen, but holy cow, that's amazing. If you follow me on Facebook, I'm sorry, but you already knew I was excited about this. That's the only time I've mentioned that much politics on this show. But anyway, we had that. Check out the links I'm going to post for Adi. And I think you just contact him on Facebook. His link is already in the description. So like, subscribe, comment, share, tell your friends. If you're that beautiful woman I met at the zoo, like and subscribe. It can't all be weirdos, right? Can't all be weirdos. Guys, that's it. Okay, that's all I got for you. Have a great night. Love you. We'll see you next week. Next week, we're talking to Wally Kern about his new setups that he has for a lot of his geckos, at least. And we're going to do that. We're going to get into that and see, so you can see where to get them, how to get them, and the functionality of them. Hopefully, we'll get into. All right, and we'll just talk to Wally about whatever. Hopefully, he has something to make us laugh. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday.